Hi, I'm Jerry Brainum. I'm once again here to answer questions from the Generation Iron Fitness Network viewers. So let me get right to it. Here's a question I got. I'm going to read it directly the way I received it. Hi, I have a question in regards to experienced bodybuilding techniques versus less experienced, less muscular training as well. People training like a bodybuilder. The advice I always see from bodybuilders basically most people train too heavy, so lower the weight and raise the reps. So my question is that are they perhaps somewhat biased in the sense that they are so trained and already highly muscled that high volume, high reps, low weights might lead them to make incredible pumps that they confuse with muscle growth. Perhaps those initial early struggles with weight that is too heavy for young or less experienced bodybuilders is necessary for initial phase growth rather than just training for a pump. Also in regards to metabolic signaling for growth from high stress demands from lightweight intensity. Think of growth of satellite cells and increased nuclei numbers. Anyway, it's kind of a convoluted question, but I think what he's asking is he's pointing out that very often beginners are advised to lift light weights, and he feels that this possibly could be a dubious suggestion because he might be this viewer might be familiar with the overload system or progressive resistance exercise, which basically says to get larger muscles, you have to lift progressively heavier weights. On the other hand, you have to take into account what happens when you first start lifting weights. The first couple of months, most of the gains that are incurred are what they call neuromuscular adaptation. In other words, your brain and your muscles connect better, and this causes you an increase in strength. So in simple terms, the first couple of months, the gains that you make are mostly strength. Muscular hypertrophy or size follows after about 3 months. Now, it's true that lifting heavy weights tends to work the type 2B muscle fibers that are most amenable to muscle hypertrophy. But there's, again, a couple of things you have to take into account in regard to beginners. First of all, if they try to lift heavy too soon, they're going to incur an injury because most people don't know how to train. And this doesn't just apply to beginners. I go to 2 different gyms, and I would say that 98% of the people in both gyms have no idea what they're doing. Their form is absolutely atrocious. And that's the reason why these people never change. They never show any muscle size gains. They never show any fat loss. If anything, they get worse year after year. They never get better, and they never stop to think about it. As Albert Einstein once said, the definition of insanity is making the same mistake over and over again. So I won't comment further on that. So what I'm trying to say here is for beginners, form should be emphasized. You want to learn how to do the exercise right. Full extension, full contraction. You have to be able to control the weight. And if you start lifting too heavy too soon, you can, again, wind up getting an injury and just quit training altogether. So it's better to start with lighter weights or weights that you can handle and use good form. Now, as far as lifting heavy weights producing muscle size, that was believed to be true for years. Again, because only through heavy weights can you affect the type of muscle fibers most amenable for growth. That's what they thought. But they have something in physiology called Henneman's size principle, which basically says that muscle fibers are fatigued from the smallest to the largest. It's a gradual progression. What they now know is what really causes muscle hypertrophy is basically a complete fatigue situation in muscle fibers, where basically, if you can work as many muscle fibers as possible, you get the greatest degree of muscle growth. Now, you can get this lifting heavy weights, but you can also get the same effect by using much lighter weights, for example, 30% of 1 rep max, and doing higher reps, because you have to have higher reps to completely fatigue the muscle fibers, and doing, let's say, 20 to 30 reps to complete failure. The key word is being complete failure. If you fool yourself and you don't train to failure, then you're just lifting light weights. You can get a little muscle endurance. You're not going to get any size. The key is you have to experiment with weights that are going to cause the muscle to go into failure after about the 25th rep and continue to go into 30. That will cause, believe it or not, according to new studies, that will cause as much muscular growth as lifting 90% of 1 rep max, which is the standard way to get bigger. So that answers the question. Also, if anyone here who's watching this who wants in-depth information on exercise science, nutrition, supplements, hormonal therapy, anti-aging, ergogenic aids, fat loss research, I strongly suggest you subscribe to my Applied Metabolics newsletter at www.appliedmetabolics.com. It's 40 to 50 pages. I call it a newsletter. It's more like a monthly ebook. 33 cents a day. Within a couple of months, you will be a complete expert on this stuff. I promise you that. But I will warn some people. I think a couple of people have misinterpreted the name of the publication to think it might be some sort of steroid Bible. You know, Applied Metabolics, I am not giving out steroid cycles. I'm not going to tell you where to buy black markets steroids and drugs, because 50% of them are fake anyway and mislabeled. It's not a guide to using steroids. So if you are subscribing with the thought that you're going to learn a lot about steroids, you will, but not in the way you think. I'm not going to give out cycles because there is no scientifically established steroid cycle. It's all anecdotal. It's all made up by people. It has no scientific basis whatsoever. And besides which, everybody's an individual. And furthermore, it's illegal to prescribe steroid cycles. So I'm not going to deal with that, but I will deal with general information, how steroids affect the body, interesting facts about steroid, new information about the science of steroids and other anabolic drugs. That's included in my newsletter. Have a great day. Thanks for listening.
Try to get into my normal routine. Trying to lose 2 pounds for the greater golf because, you know, my ass was not conditioned enough. Literally, my ass was not conditioned enough. Lean up. Lean up. Hey, ass, lean up. I booked everything for Greater Golf and Chicago, so I'm gonna do another back-to-back peak week. So fuck my life.